Hello, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, and welcome. It's Nurse Richard. Thank you for joining me. There's going to be a little bit of something different in this episode, and you're going to see, and they're probably some of the really cool images of irrigation in the ear, which I don't show very often, mostly because it's quite difficult to film. A bit like Jacques Cousteau trying to film something underwater. It's not easy, but I have found a method, and in a bit you're going to see me finish this ear off with a bit of irrigation, and the images are really cool. Like I said, really hard to get endoscopic images of it, but I think you're going to really enjoy watching the images because it's really cool. The reason why I just briefly cut away then is the patient started laughing. He couldn't help himself. What he was seeing on the screen was making him crack up. I said, "Are you all right? Is it hurting?" He said, No, it's just really funny." Anyway, there's a lovely chap who came to see me today, and he had his ears cleared out before, not for a long time though, not for at least 10 years plus. I can see why as well. But he had such a difficult ear to get in. It's probably the reason why I irrigated it towards the end as well, because it's so small, the entrance. It's a really tight entrance, and there's not much flexibility either in the outer portion of the ear. Sometimes you can stretch and what have you, but this was quite rigid, so it was quite difficult to get the tube where I wanted to get it to. So I managed to clear the lateral wax, the wax that's a bit nearer to the outside, relatively easily. Although it was kind of tacky and compacted. As I got deeper down, it became increasingly difficult, and I thought, you know what, it's just easier to just flush all this out. Which I use irrigation on a daily basis, but you will see many videos of it. Like I said, it's difficult to film, often just looks like a bubbly, blurry mess. But I am considering showing you more of irrigation. Reason is I got a new container. I'll show you briefly how we do irrigation. It's basically a water jet. It's based on like a water flosser. I think that's where the person who invented these things got the idea from. Somebody who worked in a dentist, I think. I might be wrong on that. You know, the little water jet that you put in there to clean teeth, and it's loosely based on that. So I'm not going to bring the tank to you, but there's a little suction tube, a little probe like that, which goes inside the ear. I'll just give you an idea of the size of it. It is pretty small, but the end of it is probably about the similar size to a standard size Zollner tube. This is not what I'm using, by the way. I'm using the medium size gauge here, which is in between a full size and a fine end. I couldn't fit the full size in here. Fine end just wouldn't have done anything at all. So that's that probe that you can see there, that little white thing. And if you manage to position the endoscope just above the irrigation probe, you can get some really good images. Now I'm trying to slow, but yes, it's obviously all underwater. They are waterproof, thankfully. It doesn't damage them. But in a minute, you're going to see I'm going to move the endoscope slightly deeper inside the ear, and you'll be able to see this chunk down there at the bottom, and you'll see it lift up off the eardrum and shoot towards the camera. So the theory is that this water, it comes out in a pulse. It's like a tap, 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 tap. Because if it was a constant stream, that's when you risk things going wrong, risk damage the eardrum, and you shoot it kind of upwards into the back part of the ear canal, it gets behind the plug and forces it out, which is what it's done now. And pop, out it comes. Oh, I missed it, didn't I? There we go. And yeah, the big squidgy, horrible mess. Finally managed to get it out. A lot more than I thought as well. It was a fairly substantial one. If you're listening to the audio as well, you might hear, as I scoop it out, you might hear a tap, 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 tap. And that is me doing this. This is what the patient holds underneath their ear. He's got a little cutout like that. Put it under their ear. And that is it's me tapping on that to try and get it off and to fall in the cup. So that's called a Newt's tank. This is the same gentleman's other ear, by the way. I'll tell you about that in a sec. That's called a Newt's tank. But what I was talking about before, which is why I might do some slightly different filming, is I got one of these. Now you may see these. Oh, still water in it. I've just poured it on my pants. It was clean water. I've just washed it. People are going to think I've wet myself when the next patient comes in. So you may have seen these on some other videos, some other channels where the patient holds that under the ear like that, and it's filmed from not with an endoscope, with a normal camera, from about this far away, and you can, because it's clear and see-through, you can see it all flowing out the ear and into a tank or a container like that. So I was considering doing some of those, and if that is something, sorry, I'm soaking wet here. If that is something that you think you'd like to see, then let me know in the comments down below, and I will get on to that. So what can I tell you about this next one? Right, the long and short of it was quite uncomfortable, this, for the patient. Now, anyone says it never feels uncomfortable, any procedure, not strictly telling you the whole truth, because occasionally, and this is rare, it can be a little uncomfortable, and that's why I've slowed down in this one. Just at that point there that he told me, I could feel that, and I suspect it's because you heard of the expression square peg through a round hole. It's kind of similar theory here. The thing that's in there is bigger than the gap you're trying to get it through. So to get this through that tight gap, which, like I said before, the cartilage is quite firm. There's no real give in it. So as I'm trying to pull that through, it's kind of feeling a build-up of pressure that's pushing onto the ear canal as I'm slowly bringing this forward. So that just means I've got to be really slow. So it might frustrate some people. They said, I don't care. It's all about patient comfort is the main aim of anything like this. So I think I'm using the full-size tube here. It's a bit bigger this here than the other one that we had trouble with. And it does all come out in one solid chunk at the end. So what I'm doing is I'm really gently touching it, and these movements you probably wouldn't even see if you were watching me do it in clinic. You know, it's the tiniest of teeny tiny movements where I'm trying to hold it in place, let the suction power build up, get a good grip, and then very, very slowly wiggle it up and down, side to side. But because it was uncomfortable, I'm limited in the amount of movements I can do. I can't give it a right good wrestle because it's uncomfortable. But after that first point where he said it was a little uncomfortable, when I started doing this and going really slowly and really gently, it was manageable. Could still feel it, but it wasn't uncomfortable in the slightest. And obviously throughout the procedure, I'm just checking in with the patient, making sure, are you okay? Can you feel any of that? And thankfully, we managed to get it out, and there wasn't any more discomfort. And that's always the main aim of this. Someone actually did have the cheek to leave a comment in another video saying it takes too long with these sometimes just to make more money and to get more, does it for entertainment value, stretches it out, the procedure. You will be appearing in the wax roast, by the way. It's all about patient comfort, not made for your entertainment. I know you like watching it, but it takes as long as it takes. And it was too soft to get a tool in there and hike it out. Again, that would have been very uncomfortable, but it would just spread it around a bit like butter. Because bits of it were firm. It wasn't firm enough, I didn't think, to get that in. But as soon as I felt it was uncomfortable, I thought, I'm not going to drag that forward. I'm just going to really slowly tease it forward. And afterwards, it was a bit pink here. Obviously noticed a big difference in here in both of them. I think it had been like this for a number of years before he thought I better get this sorted out. But bit of a pink canal at the end of this one. Hang on. Let's get ready for it. There we go. There you see, bit pink. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that. But for now, take care of yourself. I'll see you soon.